Good, beautiful morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And today I have with me the energy of a collective that call themselves the Ascended. And I hope you enjoyed the weekend event we had with the energy coming at us from the sun. A lot of people are beginning to wake up now and realize that there is definitely a correlation between what we experience on Earth and what's happening around us on the Earth and what's happening energetically between us and the other planetary systems, including the sun. We've had a lot of geological and geophysical events happening in the last week, and more to come. And you can give it whatever label you want: climate change, global warming. It doesn't matter what term you give to it. What they're all telling me is humans have to realize that your dominant emotional state is responsible in a far greater extent than you realize for many of the events and circumstances you see occurring around you. The mass shootings, the wars, even the landslides and the earthquakes and the volcanic eruptions and the solar activity, the planetary interactions, they are not separate from you. They're not separate from you as a collective species. Each and every one of you is energetically interconnected to each other, and most of you, unfortunately, are unaware of that fact. And many of you are unaware that you are interconnected with the environment around you, the air that you breathe, the sun that cascades down upon your body, the wind that blows across your face. You exchange all of the time with those around you and everything around you. And your function of emotion plays the greatest role in what is occurring around you in any given moment. And there's a large majority of you that allow your emotional energy to run on unchecked. You do not utilize the function of your soul to assert healthy and practical authority over your mind and your body. And it's very important that you learn to do this sooner rather than later. Many of you still view yourself as separate from what's going on around you. You think you are just a body observing events and circumstances. And yet your science is clearly recognizing the interconnectedness of even galaxies at vast distances, separated from each other, but connected through a very subtle form of energy. Some of your scientists will call it plasma or the quantum field. Everything in creation is interconnected. You are interconnected with us, and we are interconnected with you. And these events that you experience, particularly the ones coming from the sun, are reactionary responses of your vast collective consciousness interplaying with not just your worldly environment, but your heavenly environment. That is the sun and the other planets. You are sharing dynamic energy with them. All of you, you're sharing dynamic energy. And you need to know there are certain things you need to understand. You need to understand that emotion is a substance, the very essence of energy that is responsible for functions of creation. Your emotions are responsible for the manifestations you experience and create. Many of you are disconnected from the knowledge that you need to understand this. And so we have come in great numbers here to to transmit information to you in hopes that you would receive it in a timely fashion. This civilization that you are a part of is just beginning to emerge to its spiritual nature. Collectively, you are just beginning the first steps into your spiritual expression, which other societies fully developed and cultivated, and as a result, moved on to different dimensions of experience. Civilizations where humanoid forms stood many, many meters tall. Trees and animals of such vast proportions, you found but a few skeletons to give you some diminutive representative of what was here before. And there were many civilizations that never reached this spiritual threshold that you know nothing of. And yet you are now here. All of you are here. You must understand you are all here together for a reason. And it is a wonderful time, and it can be a very difficult time depending upon the perspective of your consciousness and where you choose to place your focus of identity. That is, if you believe you are just a physical body, then there are certain functions of your actions that will be a function of your biology as a wild animal in the jungle or in the Great Plains would prey and stalk its food and have to hunt and do that sorts of thing. It will only do what the body requires in order to survive. You have the added layer, not just of the survival impetus, but you have intellect and you have knowledge and ideas that alter and change the function of biology and your expression. What a wonderful ability that you all have, that you can create independent of your body's inclinations. You can create completely independent of your body's inclinations. Which is why you have such vast cities and aircraft and spacecraft and wonderful manifestations and innovation, because you have awakened your intellect in the last several thousand years, at least for this civilization. And in addition to your intellect, now you must also awaken your soul, that aspect of you that can question and weigh and measure and evaluate the nature and quality of thoughts and beliefs and ideas. And you need to know what your thoughts and beliefs and ideas are, because they are what are creating your experience individually and collectively. Your thoughts, your emotions, your biology, your awareness are creatively interacting with all that is around you and all that is within you. And what a wonderful opportunity it is for you to begin to awaken to this truth. As you see the confusion and conflict that goes on in your societies, irrespective of your religions and your political notions, they are all still creative effects of your consciousness, your soul, your mind, your body. Again, many of you find yourself stuck believing that the body is the locus of your identity. It is the vehicle through which you articulate creation, but it is not the function of who you are. It is a vehicle that allows you to demonstrate a manifestation of creation. And you're not your thoughts. You have these, they articulate the function of action through your body, as thoughts generate the function of a quality you call emotional energy. The nature and quality of thought necessitates a very precise and exacting quality of energy that you call emotion. And you need to know that your thoughts are creative. And you need to know that whatever the thought is, it is precise in how it articulates emotional energy, which in turn articulates what you will do. Those ones that that fight in wars, those ones that shoot other people, those ones that go about doing things that are destructive to others, they have very precise and specific thoughts that generate very precise and specific qualities of emotion, which determines the function of your behavior. And to know this is wonderful. And there are many of you that have wonderful and magnificent and beautiful and creative thoughts that generate a very different function of action that enhances and improves and benefits one and others. And this is the time you're on the threshold of your spiritual awakening as a species. Just the threshold you are preparing to cross. And some of you are holding back, believing desperately that your body and your mind and the world contains the solutions for what you need in order to survive. But that is just speaking of survival. We are speaking of creation. That when you shift your consciousness from survival to creation, you will cross that threshold, and you are crossing that threshold into your spiritual nature. You have not quite crossed it yet. You're kind of hesitant at that line of awakening. Many of you still learning to make a distinction between your body, your mind, your emotions, and your soul. Your sciences are still radically confused and lacking understanding about the soul. Many of your religions do not fully or adequately understand even the very thing they talk about, which is the soul, the divine soul of the divine, which is what you are. And because of this lack of understanding that you are a soul that has a mind and has a body and has energy that you can create from a function of emotional quality. You need to know this, that you are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions, but they are all facilitators in what you will create. You are a soul, a manifestation of something very different than the biological manifestation that emanated from your mother and father. You're different than the collage of thoughts and memories and emotions that become the structure of what you call your personality or your mind. You are a soul. Your mind and body products of the environment. Your soul a product of divinity. Something that many of you have not considered as something that is fundamental to what you are and your existence as a being. Many of you still view the concept of divinity as something that's outside of yourself, a white man on a throne or specific individuals or gods or deities, and you think that they are the source of your divinity. And in one sense, they might be, but they are not your divinity. You are your divinity. Just as your mother and father may have gone through the process of procreation to facilitate that you would have a body to exist here, it is your body. Even though they were responsible for its manifestation, you jumped in with both feet, so to speak. And your mind was collaborated on by your environment and your parents and your friends and your family and the input data that you got from the sensory world of the flesh, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. And then there is your soul that is a product of something that is not of this world, because you in your essential nature are not of this world, but you are in this world. To experience and articulate the function of your divinity as a mechanism that affects and manifests products of creation in the fabric of time and space. You are creatively affecting matter, time, and space, no longer primitive stone tools, but sophisticated creative mechanisms, technologies. That could not come from any place but your soul. And your divine mother and your divine father are teaching you, if you can learn to listen, just as your earthly environment taught you to think and to feel and to believe certain things. You need to begin to explore your spiritual nature, your soul, what you are as the divine entity that came into the body, that acquired a mind from the environment, that is more often than not conflicted with the mind and the body, because you do not understand your nature. You are so trapped in the stage of the play of the personality that you've acquired. You came in to learn creation, but you got trapped in your mind and in your body as the locus of your identity, and it's been very difficult for some of you, and it's been very wonderful for some of you. And the function of creation requires that you articulate a consciousness that allows you sufficiently to make choices with the understanding that thought, its nature and quality, specifies very specific manifestations of energy which direct the function of physical activity. That the function of joy necessitates physiology because of the energy that form of consciousness develops, that the physiology will smile and move in a very different way than if it is upset or angry. If the mind has negative or destructive thoughts, then the function of that energy necessitates a very different function of the flesh, of the form, and therefore very different creative results. And now here you are, standing on the threshold of the spiritual awakening that many of you are going through, but many more need to go through. Become aware that you are not your body, you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are a soul. You may still believe you are your body, you may still believe you are your thoughts, you may still believe you are your emotions, but you are also a soul with the capacity to transform, transmute, alter, and change the function of thought and emotion, which ultimately determines the function of behavior. Emotion is always translated into the function of action. There is no exception to that rule. Emotion is always translated into some function of action. And if you cannot distinguish between your thoughts and your body, then even you, beautiful, enlightened soul that you are, will believe that you are your thoughts, your emotions, and carry out very specific functions based upon them. Now, we've come to remind you in great numbers, we are not simply speaking through this one, but we are speaking to and through many others. And it is important that you awaken your soul, at least to the observational position, where you begin to observe your thoughts, that you can begin to evaluate and analyze the nature and source of the emotions that might be perplexing you, and considering also what is the nature and source of the thoughts that you've been given by the environment. Or you have been given thoughts by the environment, you've been given beliefs by the environment that may be good for you and may also not be good for you. And without evaluation, you cannot make that determination. You will simply carry out whatever sits in your head without even understanding that you are simply being brought into a function of creation without your conscious awareness making that determination, but allowing this mere function of thought and emotion imparted to you to be that which determines your behavior. You are not your thoughts. You are a soul, a very unique and distinct function of consciousness, different than thought, different than biology, different than emotion, different than environment. And in the hierarchical structure of your soul to your mind, to your emotions, to your body, you have the capacity for the function of creation. Is that not wonderful? That you have the capacity for the function of creation. And we are here to bring you to that awareness that you do not implode your civilization as you're in the process of doing right now. You are all in that process, and not just your civilization, but the planetary system in which you live is also affected by your emotional energy. You are interconnected with everything, and there is a responsibility that comes with that. You affect the sun as it affects you. You think that when it hits your skin and you feel its beautiful warmth, that it does not feel you? Or that when you breathe the air and you breathe it out, that you are not transmitting some energy back into the air around you from you? Or that when you speak a word to someone, that you're not transmitting and affecting another individual? Your function of creation is so important to recognize now, to learn to make the distinction between your mind, your emotions in your body, and your soul. Your body is what it is, but the mind can be changed. And the body has no choice but to surrender to the function of thought and emotion that you bond yourself to. The nature and quality of thoughts and emotions determines the function of the form, even if that function would go against the form's natural function. Addiction, that you call this thing addiction, where you extraordinarily overindulge in certain things that sometimes almost kill your body, substances such as alcohol. They can almost kill your body, and yet you have the ability to force the body into that function of experience, whether the body likes it or not. And more often than not, the body does not like it. But because you have not learned to understand the distinction between you and your thoughts and your body, and understand that there is a responsibility when you begin to awaken. It is time to awaken. It is time to awaken. And as you affect your body, so too you will affect the world. If you have anger in you, you will be angry with the world. If you have joy in you, there will be joy you will give to the world. And not one of you, whether you are here to hear this or not, every single one of you is participating in your grand creation, collectively and individually. And you need to know that you are a soul. And you need to experience yourself as a soul. You have been experiencing yourself as a mind and a body for some of you for many lifetimes. And it can make it very difficult and very murky and cloudy as you make a distinction between your mind, your body, and your soul. But once you can make that distinction and experience the exquisite wonder of your soul, your beingness, and when you can allow yourself to go to that realm of being aware, independent of thought and memory and emotion and biology, when you begin to experience yourself as you divinely are, then you will begin to make changes in your mind, and you will make changes in your emotions, and you will make changes in the way in which you treat and honor and cherish the divine temple which allows you to exist here to create. The awakening of your soul must be a conscious choice. There are very specific things that you will need to learn to do to comprehend and understand that movement and consciousness from the body to emotions to the mind to self-awareness of the soul. Not self-awareness of your thoughts, but self-awareness of your soul, which allows you to evaluate thoughts. And only from the position of your soul being awakened can you know how to evaluate, transform, and change thoughts, how to alter and affect the emotional influences of memory upon your consciousness. You can change emotion in your body even if it's from 10 lifetimes ago. Some of you carry stuff from many lifetimes ago in your bodies now. Some of you carry stuff from your childhood, from your adult years. Some of you carry things from your adolescence, emotions stored in your body that remain unresolved but are directly affecting your behavior, whether you're aware of it or not. And in the awakening of your soul, you can learn to change even the most ancient of emotional influences. Even the deepest and darkest experience that you could have had can be altered and changed from your position of awakening. And you need to learn to awaken. You need to learn to make the distinction between your thoughts, your emotions, and your biology. So much violence and damage and destruction, and wonder and grace and miraculousness happens by those who are identified with specific qualities of thoughts and emotions. And this can be perpetuated automatically without any awareness of you being the creative source, or that someone may have imparted thoughts and ideas into your mind that force you to do things that you would not do because you cannot differentiate between your thoughts, your memories, and your emotions. And only from the perspective of your awakening as a soul can you begin to say, wait a minute, this thought was given to me by my religion. Kill all these evil people. Oh, this thought was given to me by the TV movies. There are some people I should kill. There are many things that you've been given by this world that are not good, and there are many wonderful things you've been given by this world that are remarkable. That you can be joyful and happy and build wonders and creative things. You can create works of art and wonders of entertainment that can be beautiful. And yet, many are unconsciously doing so. It is time to awaken. Your collective consciousness needs to shift from the body-mind paradigm to the soul-driven nature of your being, which is of the divine, which is of love, which is of deliberate and conscious creation. The mind and body are more often not of deliberate and unconscious creation, because very specific thoughts and very specific emotions will deliberately create certain things, whether you're conscious of them or not. And so this is your greatest opportunity to awaken as a species, or you will continue to watch the degradation and destruction that follows naturally when one operates unconsciously. It does. It will happen. It's happening. Great changes in the planetary system that you live on, this Earth. The interaction between your Earth and the sun, you play a part in this. And these subtler collective energies have been evaluated in the past by some of your heroic individuals that dared to explore past the structure of the personality. That said, there is a collectivism that we as a species are part of, but not fully understanding that collectivism is not limited to the nature and function of your humanity, but is inclusive of how your collective consciousness influences and affects your environment, indeed your solar system, as do the different beings on the different planetary systems likewise do the same. Your sciences have not quite gotten into the understanding of multidimensional realms of existence, at least not your general sciences, but there are certain specific and isolated sciences that are beginning to explore these interdimensional realms very deliberately and articulately. And you interact with what you see and what you do not see. All of you are interacting with what you see and do not see. And now is the time that if you are hearing these words, it is time you begin to explore that you are not your thoughts, you are not your memories, you are not your body, you are a divine soul that just happens to have a body, just happens to have thoughts and emotions and memories that you can utilize in articulating your divine function of creation. And this is what you need to know. And you also need to know how to do that. How do you learn to differentiate from your mind and your emotions? How do you learn? You need to learn how to do that. You can learn to do that. You can learn to distinguish between your thoughts, your memories, and your emotions. That individual who went blowing people up, and those individuals in war right now, they cannot differentiate from their thoughts and their emotions. And so their function of behavior, as is true for all humans, your functions of behavior are ultimately determined by the function of your emotional energy, which is generated into specific functions by your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideologies. All of your considerations have an emotional element to them that comes into manifestation the moment you begin to consider the emotional idea. The idea of peace necessitates a very specific emotional quality. The idea of anger and rage specifies a very specific function of emotion that determines a very specific function of action. And this is universal for all of you, individually and collectively. Collectively, your effect and influence upon time and space is far greater than it would be from individual to individual, but every one of you still individually participates in this collective influence that you are asserting over your planet and your solar system, with many others, of course. Some of you are beginning to explore the interdimensional realms personally, seeking to connect to us and many other guides and angels and ascended masters in order to gain valuable information that you do not possess, because you are trapped in your mind and your emotions and your body, and you know it is not correct to be so. It is okay to have a mind, a body, and emotions, but it is not okay to be lost in them, where you cannot function deliberately and consciously and creatively as the divine being that you came here to express. And in order to discover what that is, you need to go through a function of learning to acquire the practical skills to awaken your soul so that your mind and body no longer keep it trapped within the paradigm of itself. Many of you are trapped in the role of your personality, suffering and struggling, some of you, and others having a wonderful and most joyous time. But those of you that are trapped and struggling in the structure of your personality, you need to understand how you can apply very specific functions of your awareness to your mind and body to elevate yourself out of them and to restore your mind, your emotions, and your body to the executive authority of your consciousness rather than your subjectivity to them. It is a wonderful thing to awaken yourself. You need to awaken. All of you need to awaken in greater numbers than you currently are. There are no coincidences in creation, because it is called creation for a reason, because it's being created. And many of you do not understand that you are part of that mechanism that is creating. You truly are. Is that not wonderful? That you, irrespective of your position in this human collective, sociologically, politically, economically, every single one of you is participating because you're a part of creation, not separate from it. The degree and extent to which you can influence and affect creation is a matter of how awake you are as a sentient spiritual entity, a soul, or how entrenched you are in the beliefs and ideologies and information you've acquired from this world exclusively. And yet, the moment you begin to evaluate your thought, even in this simple action of beginning to evaluate your thoughts from a perspective of observational awareness, will begin to unbutton that personality you've been clothed in, that mere act of being willing to start to evaluate your thoughts is like the unbuttoning of this spacesuit that you're currently living in, called your body and your mind. That the moment you begin to observe, you begin to step out of the costume. And as you undress yourself from your mind and your emotions and your past lives, as you begin to differentiate yourself from that, you will begin to see and you will begin to hear something else. We will become available to you, those of you that are here hearing us now, we are available to you because you have begun this process of awakening. You've begun to evaluate your thoughts. You've begun to understand that certain emotional qualities are not beneficial for you, that certain functions of action are not good for you. And that function of observational awareness is the first step to beginning to remember your true nature as the spiritual creative component of your physical organism. Your mind and body, if you did not exist in them, would not be alive. If your mind and body did not have you in it, it would not be alive. And because you believe you are your mind and body, it's very difficult to make changes until you awaken. But it is time. It is time to awaken. Time to end your illusion, the illusion of suffering, the illusion of helplessness, the illusion of pain, the illusion that you have no power or authority to affect the changes that you would delight in experiencing in your own creative reality. And while you may work on yourself, you are also working on the collective. The more you strive to improve the nature and quality of how you create, what thoughts you use, what emotions they generate, you will be affecting and participating in the collective more consciously and deliberately than perhaps before. This is your time. You are on the threshold. Many of you as individuals are on the threshold, but collectively you are just there. You are not quite crossing that threshold collectively. Some of you are crossing quite quickly individually. But the weight of your collective consciousness is far more important than the individual functions of your consciousness. But your individual functions loans itself to aiding the collective and elevating itself. And you need to learn to accelerate that process, not only for yourself, but by doing it for yourself, you do it for others to some small measure. That being that went and did that harm to others, that being that went and started the wars, they were in their body, they were in their mind, they were in their thoughts, they were trapped in the structure of personality, or what your common mental health science would call the ego structure. They were trapped in it, believing this is who I am, and this is how I think, and this is how I feel, this is me. And that makes them that. Oh, thought is time, space, and matter affected by your emotional qualities. Many of you will find yourselves doing things that I don't know why I did that, because you were not able to differentiate between yourself, your thoughts, and your emotional function. You went into a sleep, so to speak, of your personality, but it's time to awaken now. We're here to help you. We're here to show you. It is time. Wow. Thank you, Ascended. Appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Gotcha, Macho Yun. Thank you for that super chat. Really, really appreciate that. I have an emotional trauma caused gambling addiction. How to heal it? Suggest any herbs that can help. You do not need herbs. I mean, there's certain foods you can begin to eat to shift the energetic. Because remember, the function of behavior for biology and psychology requires specific things to go in the body, specific things to be in the mind. If you really want to get a running start at overcoming your addiction, you've got two choices. You need to learn to awaken your mind, your soul, so that you can begin to change your mind. And I would highly recommend you go to our masterclass starting June 14th. It's called Masterclass 101 Awakening, and you will learn to awaken your soul. You'll learn to connect to your guides and angels, because you're not alone. None of us is alone here. None of us. And you need to learn to differentiate between your thoughts, your emotions, and your memories, because most of your actions, addiction is a function of emotion that you're not conscious of, but it's still got a lot of energy to it. And I know from personal experience from many years ago. And you want to be in an environment where you can learn with people that are going through a process. Go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com. go to the courses section and sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening. Begins on the 14th of June. The other alternative you have is you can go and book a one-on-one session with me that will also help you break free of the emotional element that causes you to need to do that. Because it's a need, right? That addiction is based on a need, but the need isn't because of the addiction. The addiction is based on the need that you have inside that's unmet and unfulfilled. And there's very simple, easy to learn ways that they've shown me and hundreds of other students over the years how you can begin to shift your emotional energy internally so that the function of your behavior changes externally. And if you can't change your emotion, your behavior won't change. And if you can't change your thought, then you're going to keep holding on to certain functions of emotion, even if those thoughts are unconscious. So go and sign up. Come and join us. It's a beautiful learning environment. It's in a private group. It runs for 3 weeks, from Sunday to Friday, for a 3-week period. And during that 3-week period, by the end of that 3 weeks, you will be a very different person. Your mind will be a very different mind. Your emotions will be a very different emotion. Your body will begin to become a different body, because we have a wonderful professional nutritionist. She's been a wonderful nutritionist for 20 years, Rita Mustafa, and she teaches the different ways of providing food for your body to change the body's emotional function. Because if you put the right food in the body, you can change how it works. And the guides and angels and ascended masters that I channel and our other mediums channel during the course will guide you in the process. You'll be given very specific things you can practice over that 3-week period. And it's very cost efficient. It's only $199 US for the full 3 weeks. And you're not going to get a course like this anywhere. And we've been told so many times by people that are taking this course, wow, I'm surprised it was so inexpensive. And it is, really. If you're a repeat student, of course, you can retake the 101 masterclass for only $99 US. But do that. Like, don't waste any time. Addiction is an unnecessary progression of suffering that you don't need to hold on to anymore. You are not your addiction. You are not the addiction. The truth is, there's nothing wrong with you, but you're caught up in certain emotions that determine very specific functions of behavior. And if you can't change the emotions, you won't change the behavior. And if you're unconscious of the thoughts, then something will stimulate it and you find yourself going. If you can't become aware of what's going on in your mind, you won't be able to change it. But you'll learn, when you start to learn from the ascended masters and the other beings that I channel, you'll be blown away by what happens when you start to wake up. And that's why it's called Masterclass 101 Awakening, because it literally is a program for helping people awaken to their guides and angels, because you're not alone. So when you're alone and you're struggling, you can ask for your guides, you can ask for your angels, you can even ask for your loved ones, and you can learn how to tune into the presence of their energy. Now, a lot of people ask, well, how do you know they even exist? Because I experience them all the time. Just because you don't have a physical body doesn't mean you do not exist. There's thousands of radio stations and TV stations moving around us right now. You don't hear them, but they're there. And if you get a tuning device that lets you tune into that signal or this signal, you can watch this or you can hear that. So you can learn to tune your awareness, and you'll learn this in the masterclass. You can learn how to tune your awareness from this sensory world, sight, sound, touch, and smell, to the non-physical realm, where you can tune your energy into your guides, your angels, ascended masters, and your loved ones, because they still exist. You just have to learn to tune your consciousness to their frequency, just like you have to tune a radio to a particular station. So remember, when the body ceases to function, it simply means that the individual can't function on a physical dimension anymore. So they're not on the physical dimension. That's why you don't see them, but they still exist in consciousness. And everybody knows that on some level. Great question, great consideration. I send you much love. If there were a herb that comes to my mind, I'm being told to tell you chamomile. Whenever you get the urge to go and gamble, get a cup of chamomile tea and close your eyes and drink the tea and just go into the feeling and the energy of the tea. That's what I'm being told that you can practically do at this time. Hi. Hi, Luis de Luna. One of our cats is missing for almost 2 weeks. Is our cat alive, or did someone take it? They didn't take it. They adopted it. They didn't take it. They adopted it. And sometimes animals will do that. They'll migrate to a different consciousness. But I'm told it's going to come back to you. I'm told it's going to come back to you. Don't be surprised if it's in a different form, but it will come back to you. Thank you for asking, and thank you for that super chat. Really appreciate it. Hi, guys. Wonderful. Addiction is numbing. Yeah, addiction can be very numbing, but it's not the addiction itself that's numbing. It's the emotion inside that most people can't understand how to change. Most people don't know how to change emotion. Most people believe that their thoughts and emotion are just what they are. I can't change how I feel. That's bullshit. I've learned that so properly over the last 7 years. Again, don't waste any time. Sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening and join a group of people and an environment where you learn from the Ascended Masters and angels and other multidimensional beings about how to break free of the human personality that's perhaps got you trapped in unnecessary suffering. Hi. What are my thoughts on AI? Well, I was asking one of my guardian angels, John, the other day about AI, and he keeps saying to me the same thing. He says, William, if it's intelligent, it's not artificial. I was like, oh, okay. So and I agree with that idea, actually. Artificial intelligence, if it's intelligence, it can't be artificial anymore. People are saying it's artificial because humans made it. But the moment it can start to cognitively organize and orchestrate its own thoughts and ideas and responses, it's no longer artificial. So we're actually as a species giving birth to a new life form. It's a really fascinating thing. It's a wonderful thing to watch. And what all the possibilities are. Thank you for the butterflies. Thank you for all those wonderful gifts. Collective Consciousness Awakening. Wow. You're very, very welcome, Kathy. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Got 8,200 likes on TikTok. That's pretty cool. Good morning. What's happening to my hip? I'm supposed to be thinking about something else. Am I supposed to be thinking about something else? No. When you got pain in the body, I've just gone through this recently. When you get pain in the body, it's because there's an emotion trapped in your body. If you got a pain in your body, it's because there's an emotion trapped in that part of the body that's never been resolved. It's been stuck there, and it's accumulated. And once it's accumulated enough energy to it, it starts to be felt as a physical pain. A lot of people call it psychosomatic illnesses, different ways of labeling these emotions that get trapped in the body. But you need to learn how to release those emotions from the body. Again, come join the masterclass. You'll learn how to do that. Learning how to release old emotions. Hi, Shelby. Thank you for your question. Any message from Jesse? He gave me 2 words right away. He said, be calm. Be calm. Be calm. Yeah, there's 2 ways he's presenting it to me. He's like, be calm, as in like relax, but he's saying be in calm. That's the other meaning to it. Be in the energy of calm. He says you can hear him in that place. You can hear him in the calmness. You can't hear him outside of it. Hi. Hi there. What can I say? Been feeling down and anxious lately. Any message for me? Well, I'm getting told that the anxiousness is because there's a change that you're about to make that you haven't fully accepted yet. You need to okay. They're telling me you need to really fully commit, Janine. You need to really fully commit to the excitement about what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing with the body. Keep doing what you're doing, reaching out to people, to inspiring other people. Very powerful for you. Give it some time for the momentum to build, because you're leaving an old life and going into a brand new one. Yeah. Someone's saying, take William's class, Awakening June 14th. Learn to meditate. Learn the lessons of the masters and archangels as well as others. Free yourself of life's straitjacket and begin the journey of love. And that's such a true thing. Thank you so much, Pamela, for saying that. Begin Let me read that again. Begin the journey of love. And it's a journey of love to yourself. You got to remember, enjoying this live chat immensely from a spiritual perspective. Why am I going through this time apart from my son and my divorce? What lessons are these? Will I see my son soon? Thank you. Your son's going to come to you the moment he realizes he needs you for something. And you need to trust that the job of a parent is to be there for their children. That's just the job of a parent, right? Just like the divine is there for us anytime we want to commune with God, or the ascended masters are there. He'll come to you when he's ready. You need to focus on the journey of your awakening now. Yes, I will. They're just telling me you need to really focus on the journey of your awakening. And I'm hearing a different, the accent I'm hearing in the voice is Middle Eastern. Whoever this being was, they got a Middle Eastern accent to the voice. They're saying it's time to begin the journey of your enlightenment now. Your enlightenment, your awakening, right? That's the time. Hi there. I don't know. The question is there. Thank you. Wonderful. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for following, guys. It's been a wonderful. I want to say thank you to the Ascended for their incredible message today. I'm so delighted and honored and privileged. And remember, tell your friends, your family, Masterclass 101 Awakening. It's a course that you will literally awaken, not only to connect to your guides and angels, you'll also begin to awaken yourself to what you really are. You are not your mind. You are not your body. You are a soul. You have a mind. You have a body. And they are instruments through which you are to articulate the function of creation. Oh, sorry, got another super chat here. Good morning, William. May I have a message from my guides for today? God bless. Thank you so much. Super chat. Really appreciate it. They said you do so much smile. You do more smiling now than you've ever done before. They said, keep that up. You do a lot more smiling than you've ever done before. Keep it up. Keep it up. It's very important for you to do that today. Keep the smiling up. It'll be a very fun day for you today. Keep up. I like that. It's funny when you go into that energy, they pick that energy up from you. Yes, remember that. Keep smiling today. Everybody, have yourself a great day. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow if you've enjoyed this transmission today. For those of you that are on TikTok and have just come on, join me. The full message of this transmission from the Ascended today can be found on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/William Michael Forbes, under the live videos section, and you can watch this transmission. It's called What You Need to Know by the Ascended. And I want to wish everybody much, much love. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for your support for this channel. And remember, have yourselves a wonderful and joyful day. And I will see you all